Right, hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and that is your Springbok team. You're looking at it on the screen. Very, very interesting. So much to talk about. 9 changes and new combinations everywhere. Another opportunity for Solomon Murat to captain the side. And new opportunities for Jan Hendrik Wessels gets his second cap. A first start for Ruan Nokia as well as Morne van den Berg. A new position for Lekanya who starts at inside centre. So much to get through over here. So we're going to, first of all, I'm going to put a poll up. And I'm going to ask, are you happy with the Springbok side? Yes, no. Simple yes, no, people. Yes or no. And if you're not happy, why not? Jump in the comments and let me know what you have to say. As I said, there's a lot to get through. And this press conference is currently happening, so we'll wait and find out if there's anything, for example, injury related, and as to why there's so many changes. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think the biggest interesting was the fact, when have we ever seen 3 fly halves in the 23? Mental, absolutely mental. Rassie is going to cause a lot of controversy with this team, and I'm already seeing some of the comments. A lot of people very confused and shocked by this team, and I think fair enough, to be honest. I mean, is this a team that's suddenly at risk of losing to Australia? This team can beat Australia. I think that's probably the main thing, because they do want to win the Rugby Championship. You know, there's no way for example, you watched that game last weekend between the All Blacks and Argentina, and you go, oh yeah, that suddenly means you don't have to win this game now this weekend to win the Rugby Championship. Very much not the case, because I do think that this team can genuinely contend for this weekend and beat Australia. But there is definitely also a risk element about it. There's no doubt about that. You know, when you make 9 changes, you do put in a lot of inexperienced players. You know, there is that possibility. And Australia will look at this, and Joe Schmidt will talk about the fact that, you know, are they disrespecting us? You know, look at them. They think they can rotate their side and still beat us. I think we can rotate our side and still beat them, to be honest. But we're going to need this team to click, and click early. We can't afford to have this team have off to a slow start. So before we go into the comments, and there are a lot of them, as you can imagine, lots and lots to get through. Let's go through it, shall we? Right, so it's a brand new front row. And Hendrik Wessels gets his. I mean, he, for me, continues to blow my mind. A lot of people continue to be very surprised that Solomon Murat is captain, for example. I continue to be blown away by the fact that Jan Hendrik Wessels is getting more opportunities for the Springboks than he has with the Bulls over the last 2 years. You know, has been a hooker the entire season for the Bulls, for example, when he has played, which has not been a lot. And he goes to the box setup, and he gets a start against Portugal, and now he gets a start against Australia ahead of Achille Steenekamp, who starts ahead of him for the Bulls. Shows you how much they think of him, but I do think that's a bit of a strange one. Happy for Johan Krobelot. You know, he's really had to work his way to get back into the Springbok setup. Got injured at such an unfortunate time. You know, was set to play a lot for them, I think, and would have probably gone to the World Cup, to be perfectly honest. I reckon he would have gone to the World Cup ahead of Marco van Staden. Had he been playing previously. And Thomas Toy, it's a big game for Thomas Toy. You know, he's not old. He's the youngest of the 3 tight heads. Not massively young, not like Jan Hendrik Wessels, you know, sort of sitting there at like 22 years old, 23 I think he is. But he is very much in the plan as potentially, I think, the starting tight head come 2027. So good to see him getting opportunities. Is that your future Springbok second row? It's Solomon Murat and Ruan Nokia, 2 young players. And a natural 4 and 5. You know, Solomon Murat is very much a proper number 4, big ball carrier, good line jump in the front line. And then you've got Ruan Nokia, who's a fantastic line caller, for example, plays number 5 jersey, very much in the mold of Franco Mostert. So I think you kind of are seeing your Evan Franco light, in inverted commas, type of combo with those 2. And then Marco van Staden into the back row. He could be very much be the long-term successor for Siya Kolisi if Siya Kolisi doesn't make the next World Cup. Natural number 6. Got age on his side as well. Pieter-Steph du Toit. I think the only person I would have loved to have seen in this 23, which I'm very disappointed he's not, is Ben Jason Dixon. I think he could have started another game, to be honest. I think he could have had Pieter-Steph du Toit at 5. I would have really liked to have seen Ben Jason Dixon again. I wonder if he might have picked up an injury. We're waiting to hear out of the press conference if that might be the case. Peter Toy back to 7, Albert Low at 8. Then Wallabies starts. I wondered if he might start. I spoke about it yesterday in my prediction, and I spoke about the fact I had Grant Williams to start. But it's funny how certain players are just deemed starters and other players are deemed finishers. Grant Williams kind of falling into that latter category, because whenever Faf is injured, of course Ryan starts, and then Grant comes off the bench. Grant comes off the bench for Faf anyway, so he's like our perennial bench player, the person who sees out the rest of the game. And I'm very chuffed to see Vandenberg start. I think he's going to have a bright future for the Boks. And I think that he's going to play a lot of rugby. And I think this combination, Vandenberg, Sasha Famigomazulu, is going to be one we're going to see a lot in the future. Max Pimpi in, that little rivalry against Corey Betty, hopefully gets reignited. Chesney Colby is retained. I'm quite surprised he uploaded Fassi. I would have thought, especially with quite an inexperienced side, that we would have kept Willie LaRue in there. I think he will return for the All Blacks. And then Lekanya Ahmed inside centre, JC Creel outside centre. How is that for an interesting selection? When you think that Lekanya Ahmed, for example, covers 13, 14. If he can now cover 12, then that adds even more versatility to him and to potential options for the Boks. And retaining JC Creel at 13 because he has been just so phenomenal there. Off the bench, Malcolm Marx, Oxen Chair, Vincent Koch, or the entire bench are World Cup winners. That's the one thing. There is in case of emergency, smash glass type of bench feel to it. Because you've got Marks in chair, Vincent Koch, they'll hammer the Australian scrum. Very, very interested to see if Australia that might start at James Slipper, for example, try and have a go at Thomas Totoy, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, and Kobalar. Or if they're going to be very conscious of the fact that they've got this other front row to come on, who do they want to contend with? You then got Eben Etzebeth and Kwaka Smith. So good impact players there. And a 5-3 split, which features Grant Williams and Mine Ebok and Andre Pollard. So a bit of a Springbok fly-half shootout between the three of those players. 3 fly-halves there. I mean, the natural placements would be Sasha Famigomazulu off and the Kanya Am off for Pollard and Lebok. Lebok going to 10, Pollard going to 12. But you could have Sasha moving to 15, for example, Lebok at 10, Pollard at 12. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see that because Mike Lebok is still our best attacking fly half. And if Sasha Famigomazulu starts to really look good at full back, there could be an argument to play him at full back ahead of Willie LaRue, play Mani at 10. You've got a goal kicker, for example, as well as your general in at fly half. Some people have mentioned the idea of maybe see Mani Lebok at 15. So it's an interesting conundrum. Well, not conundrum, but an interesting situation to see where they go and how they sort of go with this. But a lot of controversy, a lot of people not happy with this team. We're sitting at only 73% people liking it. So let's go through some of the comments. Sentinel said the changes are too much, but we also need to have cohesion for All Blacks. Devin was saying earlier we have nothing to gain by beating Oz again with the same team. Patrick very rightly saying just the Rugby Championship, which I do agree with. Campo saying Jesus is probably the most confusing team to date. Really needed to win this game, but wow, this is going to be strange. Christian Records, Rusty has lost his marbles. Matthew saying, I'm not in love with wholesale changes, but I understand where it comes from, but we really need to win the Rugby Championship and punish Oz at home twice. Lion on C saying, Moni and Andre on the bench is an interesting one. Probably at 12 in the second half, perhaps. I think pretty much definitely. Matthew saying, we would have loved to have seen Grant get a start. JP talking about that Moni becoming at 15. He's saying, unfortunately, due to his kicking, the damage is done at 10, and he will never be first choice for 10 big games. How good would it be if he can perform at 15? Well, I think my counter argument would be how good would it, you can have Moneybook at 10 and Sasha at 15, for example. If you wanted to put them both into the team, that's probably where I would go. I would go Sasha at 10 and Sasha at 15, Mani at 10. Roger says that Ruan should be repaired with a more experienced lock partner. I think Mads mentioned Ben Jason Dixon. For me, he's quite a big absentee over here. And I would say Rassie is risking it all after taking the bonus point in Brisbane. Jean Stewart saying, not a fan of all the changes, would have kept more of the changes on the bench. Thought Masuka could have gotten a shot against Portugal and Oz, guess not. Well, I mean, he's not over there, so he was never going to be in line for this weekend, for example. And Grant says, well, that certainly is a squad. Crony saying, the Roo hooked after his blunder. Can guarantee you right now he'll play against New Zealand. Yassine is cancelling his plans on Saturday. Leroy said he called at 12. Michael saying, no, too many changes, must be dominant and win to make a big impact on pinning down the rugby championship. So MC Dizzle the Great is a fan of Lekanya at 12. And the Ultimate Sharpshooter says that he would like to see Marnie go to 15 here with Pollard at 10 and Sasha at 12. But I figure Marnie will go 10, Pollard 12, and Sasha 15. I tend to agree. I think it's an interesting one. There's Lekanya at 12. Where is he going to, I think, crash ball wise, he won't bring the same as Damien Delendi. This is why it's an interesting one. He's a very different player. He's not going to be quite that sort of crash ball option. I wonder if you might see Jesse Creel actually running as a bit of crash ball sometimes at first receiver. Obviously, a bit more sort of creative. In theory, a bit quicker if he is back to sort of full fitness with what he certainly looked at against Australia. So I think, to be fair, I don't think you need a particularly combative number 12 playing against Oz. You've got Hunter Basami who's there. He's not the biggest centre in the world. He's 1.890 kg, so he's not an absolute giant. So I don't think you necessarily need to have that massive sort of inside centre. Maybe they've realised that and going, well, let's see what the Kanya can do at 12. Let's see if you can create a bit more and be a bit more creative in the midfield. To answer your question about Estes, he's still banned, so he's not available. Otherwise, he probably would have played. Hendricks says, always have to build depth. Roger saying, glad to see Ahmed insights, especially after the Portugal test where he played both, didn't he? Mark Dunn's asking, are we not taking winning seriously? 3 halves and a 5-3 split. And Grant saying, Lekanya in his favourite position. And we're talking about the fact that Estes is indeed still banned. Lots of comments people. I'll try and pick out as we go. Swift saying, exactly for Thomas Toy. CS saying, maybe I'm the only one, but I just can't see what Murat brings to the party. Excited to see Polly at 12. Try to catch up over here. Leandre Bayer saying, I love that Polly and Marnie will be playing next to each other. Wonder saying, I love the team. Rassie in the past has made bold selections versus the Aussies, especially with the split squad. True. Very, very true. Herman then saying, the side will be so hungry to show their talent, and bear in mind, the backing is simply world-class. We could see the side also putting up big scores as well. Well, my only frustration about this is that last week I went a bit more conservative with my score prediction. I said us by 15 in the podcast, the Between the Two Fans podcast, which, by the way, will come out this evening. And unfortunately, you probably have to do just ignore the entire prediction that we made because Rassie's decided to just blow that out of the water. But I went a bit more out there and I said by 20 this weekend. So this team better operate because I can't afford to lose the predictions this week. It's going to be a problem if I do. Rassie's obviously not a big fan of me potentially winning that. But let's go look at some of the caps, for example, and some of the other interesting parts, as well as some of the comments made by Rassie Erasmus about this team. So we're going to move to a different screen there. There we go. Right, let's talk about this, shall we? So the big thing over there, Morne Vandenberg, Roanoke here. First test starts. And the changes motivated by Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus' desire to continue finding the balance between building momentum and expanding squad depth. Saying as follows, we made it clear from the outset this season that one of our main goals is to build squad depth with an eye on the next Rugby World Cup here in Australia. And we feel there's no better way to test some of the younger players and assess where we are as a group against top 10 nation, especially away from home in this match. We have a group of about 45 players that are part of our wider squad this season, and we've seen what most of these players can do. We have full faith in the younger generation of players coming through, and we feel this is the right time to test them against an Australian outfit that will be desperate to bounce back against strongly from last weekend. Speaking on the younger players, they said all of the younger players made a strong impression against Portugal and in the other tests in which they received an opportunity to showcase their skills, and we believe that their hunger to play, combined with their individual skills, will be a fantastic driving force for them to build on the result in Brisbane. He has opted to rest Tiak Lisi, Frans Malherbe, Gerard Steenekamp, Bongi Minambi, Kubus Rana, Curtly Orange, Damien Delendi, and Willie Leroux. There we go. Ben Jason Dixon is nursing a niggle, so confirmed there. So he is not fit. Otherwise, I reckon he probably would have played. I think he would have been ahead of Peter Steph Toy, actually. So it's an interesting one there as well. But let's look at this is what I want to look at, which is all the caps. Not a lot. In fact, very interestingly, of the 613, I think it is 600 and where are we at? Sure, I saw the thing. There are 332 caps in the front in the starting lineup, 419 on the bench. So it's interesting that your 8 bench players have more caps than the other 15. Shows you how inexperienced some of these players are. So let's look at upper left Rassie, just 5 caps. Chesney Colby, one of the more experienced players in that back line with 34. Kanyam with 36, Maxwell Pimpy with 43, and then Jesse Creel, the most experienced player in that back line, with 72 caps. Well on his way to becoming a Springbok Centurion, if you ask me. Just 6 caps between the halfbacks of Morne van den Berg and Sash van der Gomezulu, the halfback pairing over there. Very inexperienced, but I do think that they'll play a lot of rugby together. In the forwards, pretty much all of their, 136, 80 of them coming from Pieter-Steph du Toit. A further 21 coming from Marco Star and 19 coming from Thomas du Toit. We are talking about 4 out of the 8. I think for 5 out of the 8, having fewer than 10 caps, of which I think 3 of them only have 1 cap. So it's incredibly inexperienced bench. The replacements, on the other hand, very, very experienced. Average of 52, with the caps over there. So if you look at our history, for example, we've now won 51 games out of the 94. We've drawn 3, lost 40. So that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's up to 54.2 from last weekend. So it is slightly up. So interesting there to have a look at exactly what the thinking was behind this selection and what Rassie Erasmus is trying to do. Mark says that changes do make me nervous, but we have to trust the process. And Rassie, the forwards on the bench, can definitely swing a game, I think is what he meant. So let's hope if we aren't getting it done, they come on early. Cruyff reckons that I think they will 10, 12, Liebach, and then 100. This is all coming from Tony Brown, trying to play their best pair for this playing style. Candace saying that Remember does not belong in the box set, in my opinion. He's a lazy player and is not hardworking like all the other guys. I would disagree with you on his work rate. I think if there's one thing he does bring, it's good work rate. I think he's maybe not as physical, for example, as an BITDEFENDER. Maybe doesn't bring as big a presence, isn't maybe as mobile around the park, for example, either. But I think he is a hard worker. I think he's a hard worker. He had that really good try line tackle as well. So he's had moments, but he is somebody who I think does definitely have something to prove. He is definitely someone who's under a little bit of pressure. Because to continue sort of justifying his selection, not so much to box management, I think they rate him, but to the South African public in general. Because I think that a lot of them have raised questions about his selection as being one of the more controversial ones. But JP says Willemse is at 15 and we need a 10, so Sash should stay at 10. Only plays for Marnie's cover for fullback, and that's also third choice 10 in the starting team. Yeah, look, I mean, that's the big thing. When Dane Vincent returns, it all gets very interesting. In terms of who starts at 10, who's going to be on the bench. Because during the World Cup, we always wanted to have Brilliant on the bench, for example. So it becomes very interesting when Dane Vincent comes back. It's a nice problem to have when he does come back, in terms of there being so many players and how do you get them all in. It's similarly like at the moment we're sort of juggling between, well, how do we balance having Jesse Creel and Lekanya and Damien Dealendi and Andre Esterhuizen, and it's a difficult one to find game time and time to play all of them because you've got so much talent there. So it's healthy. It's very, very healthy from a Springbok point of view to be in that situation, and I think that we'll get quite a lot of answers this weekend, because I think Australia will be better this weekend. I don't think that Joe Schmidt will allow a performance like that to and then not have improvement. It's the first time under Joe Schmidt they've come up against the Springboks, the best team in the world. So, they played against a very ordinary Welsh side, played against the Georgia side. So basically almost would have played tier 2 opposition, and now they play a force to be reckoned with, the best team in the world. So I think it would have been a big wake-up call for a lot of them. I think they'll be a bit more relaxed going into this weekend, understanding a bit more what it takes, or what it's going to take, to try and contend with the Boks and be competitive. So I'm expecting a large improvement from from Australia this weekend. So a large improvement, I think an improvement from Australia mixed with a lot of changes. This could all of a sudden become quite a close game. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we really just sort of click into gear and we get very competitive very early on in the game and continue where we picked off. But there is a chance to have a bit of a slow start. Emily Cafe saying, if there are 32 players in a squad travelling, it's only wise to play them against an opponent we have already beaten convincingly. These players need to run out so they know where they stand. Craig says, Murat will need to up his physicality. Good player, but needs a bit more attitude. And Contender saying, I hope Murat steps up. Gone are the days of having a Marvin Ory sort of player in the squad. We need a forward with a physical presence like Bucky's and Evan. Solid is good, but we need more presence. Lawrence says, I guess Rassie wants to give Billy his 100 at Mbombela then rather than in Argentina. Yeah, interesting idea, isn't it? ANT saying, Murat not good. Vessels and out of position. I don't think Vessels out of position at all. He is a loose set. I think that's where he will settle, to be perfectly honest. He says, Pimpy too old for the next World Cup. If we lose, no excuses. And Johan reckons that I'm at 12, but he is too slow. Why Orange had dropped. I reckon if you have a race between David Dillon and Lekanya wins. We saw that his pace does seem to be back from that performance against Portugal. So of all the reasons I would be worried about Lekanya at 12, I don't think it would be his pace that would make me nervous. That would be the last thing I'll be worried about really from him. Yiska Taylor saying, the Springbok team is great for World Rugby. Good to get kids on and make a real game of it against Australia. Hendrik says, Rassie is now hits. Well, interesting point. Maybe he is. You know, the nice thing about him is that, again, you know, he's earned the right, hasn't he, to do things like this. This is the one thing when it comes to Rassie Erasmus. You know, he has earned, throughout the years, the right to pick teams like this. And for us to say, well, we wouldn't have done it. We're not entirely sure why you've done it, but do it, you know. So it's going to be... I mean, I suppose you live and die by your decisions, don't you? You know, if things go badly and we lose, and I will not be happy, by the way. I will not be happy if we lose. I'm still a bit on the fence with regards to... on this. You know, I think Ben Jason Dixon, the fact he's injured makes a bit more sense, but... I look at the side and I do think they can beat Australia, but I'll be fuming if they don't. I really will be, because I think we've got such a big opportunity to put this rugby championship to bed within the next 2 games. You beat Australia, for example, with a bonus point. You beat New Zealand at Ayers Park. You probably only have to beat Argentina once, and I think we'll do it twice. You could allow yourself to lose against New Zealand in Cape Town if you wanted to, and still win the rugby championship. So it will be a massive, massive cock-up if this team were to lose to Australia. That is the reality of it. However, it's one of those things. It's if you go and win this game, for example, then absolute masterclass. You know, we've built depth, we've given players a chance. You know, we've got the victory. We've come away with, even if we don't get a bonus, we've come out 9 out of possible 10 points whilst building depth, momentum, etc. So it can go really, really well. It could be fantastic. It could be brilliant. It could also end very badly. And we really need to hope that that's not going to be the case, because, yeah, I'll not be happy if we lose this game. And as a result, down the line, lose the rugby championship, a rugby championship which I think we really should win. Can win and should win. Because we just wanted to build depth. You know, I'm all for building depth, but I want to win things along the way. You know, I really, really despise the idea that it's not about the rugby championship. The rugby championship doesn't matter. You know, because it does matter. It does. You know, this whole idea of nothing but the World Cup matters, I think, is very archaic. I think it's far too simplistic. And I can't. So what? So I'm gonna spend 3 years watching us lose and be average just so we can win the World Cup. It's fine if we win the World Cup, but if you then go lose the World Cup, then you spend all this time building depth and you've lost, and you're going, well, we've lost opportunities to win rugby championships, and we lost the World Cup. So what did we really gain? That kind of continues to be my argument. Olele saying, Liebach and Pollard, what's the plan with those two, and how did Vandenberg get the nod ahead of Williams? I think the big thing, a lot of people are talking about the fact it is potentially raining this weekend. And, you know, that's going to really challenge people. You know, it's supposed to be a high of 15 degrees, a low of 10, so cool conditions. It is looked like a very, very heavy chance of rain, so it's going to be wet. So immediately, I think, for example, I think that's why Vandenberg might be picked. I think he is a player who probably suits the wet a bit better than Grant Williams, who's come a long way with his game management. But I do think Vandenberg is potentially a bit better. I think that, again, I suppose, in the rain, that's almost a bit strange to have a Kanye whose hands are probably better than Damien Delendi's, who's been told by Tony Bryant's best passer around there. But Delendi's far more direct, for example, than I think Kanye is. Well, unless Kanye is going to suddenly become this big crash for 12 that we never knew we had. That could be a thing. It could very well be a thing. We wait and see, won't we? But it's a massive test for these players in wet conditions. And no, Mark, I did say, this is also the thing that pisses me off. I did not say lose the World Cup. So you prefer to win the championship and lose the World Cups. Get your priorities right. When did I say that? Please go back and clip when I said that. I did not say that. Why are they mutually exclusive? That's my point. They are not mutually exclusive. We don't have to lose every rugby championship to win the World Cup. This is not some sacrifice to the gods to say, well, if we forfeit the next three rugby championships, we can then get a World Cup. We can do both. We should have won the rugby championship last year. We really should have. We should win the rugby championship this year. Just because we win the rugby championship this year, does that suddenly mean that we can't win the Rugby World Cup? So if we do win the championship this year, don't bother. Don't even go to Australia. Doesn't work like that. The best teams are competitive throughout the years. There's a reason that New Zealand team of sort of 2000 and sort of 11 to sort of 16, 17 is considered the best team of all time because they won everything. They had long winning streaks. They didn't lose. They had record wins. They would go, they'd pitch up, they'd win rugby championship after rugby championship after rugby championship. If you go and look at a Richie McCaw, for example, let's go look at Kieran Reid. And let's look at his career and see what he's won. Here are his honours. This is what he's won in his career, by the way. 2 Rugby World Cups, as well as 3rd place in 2019. He won the Rugby Championship in 2010, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, 2018. He was runner-up in 2015. So that is 7 Rugby Championship titles. That's before you even look at Bledisloe Cups, of which he's won about 10, I think. That's before you look at the Freedom Cup, something that we haven't won, I think, since a long, long time. I don't think we've actually won in the last decade. The Team of the Year, New Zealand won the Team of the Year in 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17. And we're the Laureus Team of the Year in 2016 as well. That's what I want from this Bok team. That's what I want. I don't want to just be known as the World Cup team because we can be more than just the World Cup team. No, come on, I clip it. If you want to try and say that I said something, then you go back and find it because I didn't say something. Didn't say that. Don't come here with you clip it. I'm not going to clip something I didn't say. It doesn't make sense. Come here at me. Anyway, rant's over. We can be good at both. That is my main point. And a lot of people saying as well that they want to win the Rugby Championship. I think probably backing up that point that we can be good at both. So MC saying we should win every championship and the World Cup. I want to have the same win rate as New Zealand have. CS says exactly, we can and we must win both. We did it in 2019. Can we not do it again? The 3 flower hearts. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I think that it's such a cool position to be in from a Springbok fan because previously in the past 4 years, flower has been such a massive issue. And now we're talking about a shootout between Pollard, Sasha, Mani, as well as having Jordan and Siamasuku in the wings waiting. So we've got flower half depth, and now it's a bit of a case of, well, you're going to have to take it from me. And I don't think Pollard's really ever had that in his career where he's been, had to really work for that number 10 jersey and have so many other options coming down on them. So I'm really excited about that part and that fact. So the 3 flower halves in 123 is very interesting. And I think that what for me is interesting is we talk about the fact that Springbok players, the more versatile they are, the better. Now it's, well, what other positions can these guys play? Pollard 10, 12. Liebok, is he just a 10? Can he play at 15, for example? So is he 10-15? Is he just 10? Sasha, we know, is 10-15 for the Boks, potentially 12. So now we're seeing the flower halves, where being flower halves, not necessarily your only job. You have to be able to do more, or else can you be so good at that one position that you can make it as just a flower half. You know? So Pollard 10-12, Sasha 10-12-15, Marnie at this stage still just 10. Has played 15 in his career before. If I go back and look at Marnie Liebach, his stats over the years. Here we go. Oh, he's only 27 as well, though. Man feels like he's been around for a long time. But if we go back over here and we look at, I think if we go back and look at him at the Sharks near the Bulls. Yeah, when he was playing at the Sharks, he played, when he made the move to the Sharks in that Super Rugby Unlocked, he played at 15 and played a couple of times there, I think, for the Bulls as well. Since he's gone to the Stormers, he's become an out-and-out 10. I don't think he's ever played at 15 for the Stormers. Looking at over here, it doesn't look like it. No, so hasn't played 15 in a long time, but he has played there previously. So whether he can play there for the Boks, for example, we'll wait and see whether that's a genuine option or whether it's not. Campus saying with All Blacks going down to Argentina at home, our bonus win, this could be one of the better chances of winning, but with this team in the wet this weekend, potentially risking too much. Brent says this Boks side is very much a third team, the starting 15 in any event. I don't think it's a third team, because then who's our second team? You know, in terms of, yeah, I mean, there's injuries, obviously, but, you know, Jan Krobler, we don't have, I mean, you got 45 players. This is not the bottom, 15 or 23, really. It's a genuine second team, I think. You know, I mean, put Ben Jason Dixon, Peter Steph, the toy. Andre Estes could be there ahead of Akanya. You could have a Edel van der Merwe ahead of Ches and Colby. And then it would probably be a genuine second team. I don't really think it's a third team as such. You need more players to the one that we talked about. Stephen, how does this team compare to the team that beat Portugal? Right, well, let's go through it, shall we? Jan Vessels and Jan Krobler both started against Portugal, as did Thomas Toy, I'm pretty sure. Salmurat started next to Arcus Snyman. So it's the same starting four. Did Markova start at 6? I'll actually go find it. Springboks versus Portugal. Team. Sasha obviously didn't start. Moyne came off the bench. Let's go. Let's. Here we go. So Jan Hedgeves, Jan Krobler, Thomas Troy, Sal Murat. So it's the same 1 to 4, but Arcus Snyman started at 5. So everyone here's a difference. Pepsi started at 6. I thought that Marco Vardstam didn't start. Didn't play actually. When Pepsi, Benjay Sticks, Evan Ruiz. So it's a different back row. Kubas Ranak started with Marnie Liebach, so that's changed as well. It was Mapimpi Oritz Fassi. This is Mapimpi Colby Fassi. And the Kanyang was at 13, Andre stays in at 12, the Kanyang goes to 12. So it's similar, not entirely the same, but it is similar. Morning Vandenberg, Satchfire, Ngoma, Zulu, all on the bench that day. They both start, as well Albert Lowe, all three of those people start. So it is a bit of a combination of the two. Josh was saying, this is an interesting team. I know the Australians were not expecting this. They have lots of information on this team. Yeah, I think Eric makes a good point in terms of how similar the sides are, in terms of having almost like a team preparing for this game, a team preparing for that game. Because we have done that before. We've seen, for example, the split squad approach, where we send a completely different side for Australia and New Zealand, and you kind of said, right, this team's going to prepare for the New Zealand game, this is how they play, this is what we need to do, this team's going to prepare for Australia. So that very much probably has been the case. OG Shane is saying, well, this is kind of taking a risk with the championship in mind, would hate for us to only scrape 4 points from this game and it comes to bite us later. No, I think 4 points is job done, to be fair. If you take 9 out of 10 points, even if the All Blacks take 5 points this weekend, we're still 4 points ahead of them. So I don't think we are I think 4 points is job done. I think it's weight conditions, to be fair, as well. Yako saying, just remember, I'm running the defense for a long time. I think he'll be perfect. Yeah, I'm not worried about that selection. I think it's a cool selection. I think it's quite a fun selection. Sia saying, we compare the current Bok team with the Carter McCall All Blacks because they are that good. We want to be the greatest first team of all time, and we certainly have the resources. Now we need to dominate. Sia and Lovo coming in with the bars. Correct. Yako saying, hi, how are you doing today? Yeah, can't complain. It's warm. It's Johannesburg. I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. Life is not that bad. I'm even playing golf tomorrow, people. Like, I'm actually not having a terrible week. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. And now I've got an interesting Bok team to talk about. So, yeah, all good. Lions are second in the Currie Cup. Manchester United starts on Friday. Premier League's back. Test cricket is back. The Olympics is done, which is a little bit of a downer. But lots and lots of sport to keep me occupied. And Trevor's saying, Kitsoff, Bongi, Lewitt, Jean Klein, Jasper, Snamer, Master missing in those forwards. Faf, Hendricks, Villenson missing for the backs. Good to have this problem. I 100% agree. Shame that Lewitt Diaga, we do a video coming out later about Lewitt Diaga in terms of that injury that he's just had. And whether some people sort of talk about the fact that maybe he should be retiring. I don't think he needs to retire. He's 31 years old. Got plenty of time. And the injury he's got now is a shoulder injury from like the final of the Japan top 14, top probably whatever it's called. So I think that it wasn't like it's a long-term reoccurring injury. And I think just give him all the time in the world. He can still make the next World Cup, for example. He'll be 33 years old. So he won't be that old anyway, and he's a quality player, Lord Diaga, but just actually gutted that he's injured once again. He's going to be out for a while. Ricardo is saying we have a reputation of losing our second tests. Yassine says just need Phillips and Climax. So MC saying I really think for the way Tony Brown runs, crash at 13. I think I'm at 12 is brilliant. Brown saying in fairness, it's a strong bench. Things go bad, we can change quickly. I think that's probably the big thing. Yaka Robertson saying, my score prediction is Springboks 37, Wallabies 23. No, it has to be 43-23. I've gone with a 20-point prediction. Rassie, what have you done to me? Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Wolfish saying, super excited for this team. What time is the press conference? It is just finished. I'm actually going to send you over to the Premier as soon as it starts, so you guys can go from me listening to Rassie. I know it's a bit of a downgrade. I know I'm the person you really want to speak to and want to hear from, and that you spend all your days waiting. But yeah, the press conference has just finished. We are busy sorting it out. We are going to premiere it, which means it'll kind of start very, very shortly, and I'll send you guys all there, and you can go from me to listening to Rassie. So it's just non-stop Springbok content. Lauren saying, race PSF Toy would have Ben Jason Dixon at 7. Unfortunately, he's got a niggle. Brent saying, what are all the changes does is negate the second test malaise that affects the box. It's an interesting point, isn't it? The fact that we often, in the past, we've lost that second test. Maybe because it's a case of the players, going through the motions. Now you've got them and starting a different team. And if there's nothing else, this team will be hungry. Are they the same quality, for example? No. But there'll be a hunger about them that maybe the other team won't have. So maybe that's like a whole different sort of vibe to it. That maybe they're a bit more hungry and they're a bit more, desperate to win. And you've got to try and keep that desperation to win in all the players. Colin's saying, each of us have the freedom to be armchair selectors and coaches. It's fun, but let's not imagine we are in that role, that we have a sense of a strategic goal and plan to achieve it. Chess master. Wolf is saying, can we send you to Perth to talk about the squad with the media, please? I'm ready for it. We will go over there eventually. I would like to have gone. I need the rand to get a bit stronger because going to Australia is hellishly expensive. In fact, I'm already saving my pennies for 2027 because it's going to be an expensive trip to go over. Not that France was cheap. But obviously, we will endeavour to go over to Australia, make sure that we're on the ground. They're giving you guys all that coverage of the next World Cup. Our goal is to try and get to the end of year tour next year. and do that as well. So you guys can help that journey by hitting that like button. It's just the small things, in life that keep us going. So if you'd like to see us in Australia, if you'd like to see us at the end of the year tour, for example, then smash a like on the video because it's free. If you'd like to really support the channel, then you can go and join the members club, which is usually supposed to be the pinned comment. I'm not quite sure why it's not. I'll make it again. But yeah, if you'd like to consider joining the members club, it's just a small monthly donation, basically, which helps us keep us going and takes our coverage up to the next level. Buying equipment, buying better cameras, for example, getting more shows, the whole works and stuff like that. Brent's saying wet weather tests hit differently, though. Personally hate wet weather tests. We could see polled on earlier if Sasha can't handle the conditions, similar to England's semi-final. Potentially not wrong. And Yako says, if you look at every player that will walk into Australian team, that's a very interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? I mean, if we do look at that team, James Slipper, I don't think Hendrik West gets to the Australian side. Jan Koblop, I think, does. Thomas Toy does. Sal Murat, I think he's an argument he could. I think Leon Akil probably get that side as well. Marco van Staden, potentially into the 23. PSF Toy obviously starts. I think Albert Lowe gets to that 23. Morne van den Berg, maybe one of the players that might not. I quite like Jake Gordon. There's obviously Tate McDermott. We've also got Nick White. Sash Fine Zulu starts, I think. Maxima Pimpy maybe starts. That tender combination goes in. Chesney Colby starts. Fassi maybe not ahead of Tom Wright. But I think that's a good way of putting it. In fact, maybe we'll do it. So once Australia, I tell you what, when Australia names their side Thursday, we'll do a combined team. That's a nice idea. I'm going to write that down somewhere. Do a combined team when Australia announce theirs. Right, that's kind of sticky on my note over here. We'll do a combined team. I think it'll be a very interesting way of having a look at the two sides. Thank you, Yako. I think it's a nice suggestion. And Nishan saying, picking the side transfers pressure onto ours. That's the genius of Rassie. It's a high risk, high reward. If we win, first choice players are well rested. If we lose, we have to win all matches. Michael Taylor's going, box 44, Oz 1. I mean, that suits my score prediction. Not entirely sure how they're only getting 1 point. But it suits my prediction that I made, which is box by 20. Timbermadi saying, Rassie is building. The risk is great, but that puts pressure on Bomb Squad to deliver. I am, however, worried about Earwood. He hasn't had powerful impact game this season for the box. So then Michael has fixed it and made it 12. That makes a bit more sense. Still suits my prediction, that, so I'm all for it. Josh says, yes, Fassie's good under hard ball and he can run the ball well. So he's backing the upper letter Fassi selection. We've got 2 minutes left, people. I'm going to send you over to the Rassie Erasmus press conference, which is premiering at 2:40. So we can send you over and you can go listen to exactly what the man himself has to say on all these very, very interesting changes. So as mentioned, please consider joining the members club. Please do like the video. The more likes we get, the more views we get, the more the community grows. The better the channel does, the better the content gets. You know, it's a pretty straightforward thing. And clicking the like button costs you absolutely nothing. Eric's saying, a decade ago, you needed 650 caps starting. Now it's 700 plus. Interesting point. They've actually mentioned that before, the Springbok management, in terms of they looked at the previous World Cup winners, how many caps did each of those sort of players have, and the likes. And yeah, very much mentioned the fact that you had to basically have an average of about 40 to 50 caps per player to win the World Cups. That's what traditionally has happened. So very much that is becoming the new norm. I'm going to send you over to the press conference now, people. And Rassie Erasmus is going to talk about all the things that he had to say and listen to the man himself. Try and justify, explain, and convince you of this team selection. So thank you very much, people. It's always fun chatting to you. We will see you guys all tomorrow for another live show. And yeah, obviously we have lots more videos to come on the channel as well. So smash like on the way out, subscribe as it says over there. Turn your notification on as well, because then you get notified when videos come out. So when there's breaking news, for example, you get notification to say, boom, Samuel at captain, boom, Lutiaga injury, boom, Sash Zulu wins World Player of the Year. You know those things. So yeah, apart from that, enjoy the afternoon, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.